Hello everyone and welcome to game 5 in the series in a King of the Hill series. So far it's going to be Dreamizers versus Clash's Mercy here on Shattered Temple. Mercy spawning as the blue Protoss at what I'll call the 7 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Dreamizer spawning over here as the red Zerg. And I'm not quite sure if this is a clan war or perhaps a house war. There's been a little bit of overlap in terms of players, but I do definitely see some similarity in the team names. Perhaps this is a house war that is happening between these two, I guess, Korean StarCraft houses. And we'll see what's going to go down in this matchup here on Shattered Temple. It is Protoss versus Zerg. And interestingly enough, it is not a forage fast expansion. The pylon is not on the low ground. And with this, I am curious as to what Mercy is going to be going for, as this is not your normal build even for a Gateway Cybernetics core. Probe now making its way over to the front door. We'll be able to see what exactly Dreamizer is going to do over here on Shatter Temple. Going to take a look around with that probe and poke around and see what exactly it can do here. Meanwhile, Overlord on the front door, slowly making its way, and as soon as it sees the pylon on the high ground, I have to believe that it is going to be going for an extractor pool. And is he doing exactly that? He does see the pylon on the high ground, he does see the gateway now, and we can see that the extractor is already down. We should be, nope, he now cancels it, and a probe is still down over here. So it looked like he was trying to be a little bit all sneaky and tricky, but Dreamizer not really going to be able to set that up. Dreamizer was trying to do a little bit of a trick here, and by nice denial, just ever so barely, and oh no, didn't quite work, as Dreamizer now setting up that hatchery. Overlord now on the front door. Dreamizer sees that there is no pylon there on the low ground. Cybernetics core already coming in. Second pylon now warping in as well, and we should be seeing perhaps Cybernetics core now warping in, the pylon off over here, and we'll see what exactly is happening. So far, Dreamizer pretty much setting up, and he did a little bit of a head fake. I like that play. I like the fact that he tried to build an extractor and make it look like he was not going for an early hatchery. He then canceled the extractor while his drone was off over here and was going to head down the ramp. We can see that the front door has a gateway and a cybernetics core here. And a little bit interesting on the positioning. This pylon is going to be the weakest link, and what's going to end up happening is that even if a zealot is sitting here, Zerglings on the ramp could still try and take down that pylon. So you have to be very, very careful with that, as we are also going into a gateway training up stalkers. The stalker now already going to make its way over here. We are getting up a queen and perhaps some Zerglings as soon as there are some larvae ready to go. There we go, 2 Zerglings, soon to be 4 most likely. Yeah, soon to be 4 most likely, as the game does continue. Alright, sorry about that. Sometimes I forget to set up my busy message. So we'll see what's going to happen here next. Sentry also being trained up as well. The stalker going to make its way up to perhaps try to poke around, but by the time it gets there, the queens are going to be up, and the stalker will most likely just be forced to retreat. It does have faster movements, or the same movement speed as those Zerglings off of creep though. So stalker not going to really worry about anything as it backs away, and now we see that a nexus has been established here. So Mercy looking to perhaps expand now, making sure to not give such a strong economic lead to Dreamizer. Dreamizer gonna try to test that front door. There is one pylon here. Sentries are making their way out, perhaps a new building, and trying to make a narrower choke point. And this choke point is still rather too wide, and Zerglings may be able to get in, but the sentries are good at throwing down force fields and limiting the amount of damage and limiting the amount of walking that a Zergling can do. This front door is double pylon big, meaning that one pylon cannot power the entire front door. So I like this play, as one stalker is currently sitting on the front door here. There are sentries off to support it, and that means that Zerglings are not really going to be able to push in anytime soon. Twilight Council, and now going into a Dark Shrine. Mercy being very aggressive with this, and we'll see whether or not Dreamizer follows up with Spore Crawlers. This is a normal follow-up maneuver that most Zerg players do. And here comes a Roach Warren, so still no Evolution Chamber, no tech to tier 2. And with this, Mercy, who is currently very, very far behind, may actually deal a devastating blow to the just to the economy of Dreamizer. And also at the same time, if Clash Mercy is able to set up an expansion on the bottom right side of the map, he's gonna get a very strong economic lead as every drone killed and then following up with just a lot of drones made or a lot of probes made will definitely help. 2 spine crawlers on the front door, evolution chamber now being built. The timing on this evolution chamber could not be more spot on, as we see that the Dark Shrine is about 90% completed. Overlord did spot this, and I really question the positioning on this one Twilight Council here. That is the reason why Dreamizer got that evolution chamber. Spore crawlers are already going down, and with that, Clash Mercy has already lost his window of opportunity. The window closed well before he even tried to open it. I guess a closed window is a closed window, and you can't really close a closed window, but you guys understand what I mean. As the Dark Templars now make their way in, getting poked there on the front door, and we should see a tech to tier 2 already. So Dreamizer playing very, very well, handling Clash Mercy's harassment well before it got underway. These 3 Dark Templars not going to deal any damage whatsoever, as Dreamizer sits with an Overlord here, knowing that he could easily take care of any or spot any other critical buildings that are trying to be made. Now, more gateways are being added. The Dark Templar, there are currently 6 of them. I do question the fact that he's going for more Dark Templar, but perhaps he's going to try to do some sort of maneuver with Dark Templar and do a timing off of 2 bases. He is going in very heavily into what I will say, he is currently going into a 6-gate push. He does have a Dark Shrine, but he doesn't have Blink. And without Blink, he's not really going to be able to micro all that effectively. But no, instead, turning them into Archons. I love this play. Archons very effective against Bio. So we now have 3 Archons making a move, and we'll see how much damage can be dealt. Creep Tumors are going to all get destroyed here. Pylon now warping in on Creep. Nope, not warping. Is it going to be warping in? Where is it going to go? The Archons now making their way forward. Roaches on the high ground, going to be perhaps able to get them some easy damage. And now here we go. Roaches on the high ground. Clash Mercy being forced to engage over here on the top. Zergling's Archons in the front. The Archons, however, taking a little bit too much damage. In come the force fields. So the Roaches are unable to engage. Only the Spine Crawlers are able to engage. And beautiful timing, but the food count for Dreamizer, or the supply count, simply too high, as the Archons now being forced to pull back. One of the things about Archons is that those shields regenerate rather quickly, so he will have a fresh Archon in about a minute. If he's able to get that Archon back up into a very, very heavy, high shield count, that will definitely help out. But now in comes Roaches, or the Roaches are currently burrowed, and this is a trap waiting to happen. I like this play. Oh, that Archon. Oh, the Archon was down to 15 hit points and now forced to back off once more. There is a pylon down here. Not much is going to happen with this. Most likely Roaches will make their way over. We are going into a double robotics facility. And with that double robotics facility, perhaps we will see Immortals, Observers, and Colossi, as that is really what is needed, especially against this burrowed Roach play, where the Roaches will pop up right from underneath all of those units, focus down the Archon in a matter of seconds, and force Mercy to just lose all of his attacking units. Where is the Archon? I believe the Archon is currently stuck, and this is something I don't agree with currently about StarCraft 2. The footprint on an Archon, the footprint on all Protoss units that are ground units except for a Colossus, which doesn't really matter in my example, is about 1 unit wide. Immortals can make it through that gap if there's a pylon here. Colossi can walk around the edges, no problem. Only Archons are a little bit too fat, and if it's, this giant massive ball of energy, why can't it just squeeze through or reshift itself? But that's for another time about StarCraft balance. But it does make things a little bit more difficult for Protoss. Stalker, Changeling quickly getting killed there at the front. We do see some Roaches here. We are going into more and more Spine Crawlers now. So Dreamizer making sure that if he attacks with these Roaches, is able to defend it up. double Immortals now being trained. And do we have an observer on the field? Currently, there is only one observer in the group, and that is going to be an important observer. But one of the benefits of benefits of Zerg is that Zerg knows an observer is nearby if it's with the Protoss army. Even though it cannot see it himself, or actually no, he can see it with the overseer here. Even though he can't see it himself, because he has the ability, or because he has so many creep tumors, those creep tumors end up giving away the fact that there is an observer with the group. You're going to see now roaches engaging. One roach does get taken out. Creep tumor is going to get cleaned up, but he knows that there is an observer here even without spotting it. And now the roaches can perhaps come in around the side and do a bit of an attack here as the roaches are now making their way up into the high ground. There should have been one changeling here. This one pylon could have been taken out, and a lot of the buildings could have been destroyed. In come the stalkers. There's one immortal here. Stalkers getting destroyed. This is really, really bad. Roaches with very, very fast movement speed. And now the roaches are coming in, but the stalkers do have blink. Blink is doing its job, allowing the stalkers to get back in, but the blink is on cooldown. Once again, coming back in, roaches re-engaging. The immortals need to somehow push their way through the stalkers. If they can blink back now, they need to have a little bit of nice blink micro coming back around. And now Clash Mercy able to deal a lot of damage. But at the same time, I think that was for a bit of a tech change, as now we see Mutalisks inside the base. Mutalisks are not upgraded, currently sitting at 0-0. Probes now all falling. And with Clash Mercy sitting only at 2 bases compared to Dreamizer's soon to be 4 operational bases, maybe even 5. Things are not going to bode well. Only one Archon. The Archon does have 2-0 weapons upgrade, meaning that those Mutalisks will get completely destroyed. Here come the Spine Crawlers. One Immortal going to get absolutely pounded here, and perhaps we will see an attack around the far side there as the Spine Crawlers still poking at this front door. Zerglings are burrowed down over here, making sure that a third expansion is not established. Clash Mercy pretty much now engaging in what I will call to be an all-in here. Zerglings now going to try to charge up that front door. Is a gateway going to come down in time? Yes, it is in time. And the Zerglings now trying to poke at the weakest link on the front door as the the Mutalisks battling up against Immortals and Stalkers. The Immortals need to somehow get in the front. That is the problem with this, as the Stalkers are not even blinking forward. The Stalkers either need to blink forward or blink back to allow those Immortals in and minimize the damage. And now here we go. One observer was taken out here. The Immortals now looking to just finish off, and now this damage could be dealt. We'll see what's going to happen next. All of the drones are going to be running away. Back over here, the Mutalisks have finished off the photon cannon, are now going to fly overhead on top of all of those probes, and who will deal more damage? The Mutalisks are very effective harassing units. The problem is that Stalkers and Immortals deal more damage to buildings, so this Protoss army can destroy the Zerg army or the Zerg buildings faster. The counter, though, is that Dreamizer is still harvesting more units, and with Dreamizer with home field advantage can still replenish his units slightly faster. Zerg having about 2,000 resources left in the bank. Stalkers blinking over, making sure that no drones escape. No drone left unkilled, as the Mutalisks are now coming back over here. Changeling Zealots now making their way down here. Drones now making their way down as well. They are not going to be found. Oh, the Stalkers could try to blink over. Are they going to make it in time? No, they are not. As the Immortals finishing off the spawning pool, the Spire, and the rest of the buildings here. Those poor broodlings didn't stand a chance. Stalkers now... Oh, Queen now trying to make her way out. Not going to be able to get out anytime soon, as we see another hatchery fall. So this is a base race here. Clash Mercy with a very strong and potent Stalker army, and this is going to be his one saving grace. His army is perhaps yes, his army is larger in terms of minerals, but there is no mining going off here, but there is heavy mining going off here. Mercy currently not rebuilt his base. We'll see that there are pylons on the far edges, but are there any probes anywhere? I do not see a probe anywhere on the map. No new buildings can be built at all. These Stalkers should not be going after larvae at all, and now these Stalkers need to regroup. No, the Stalkers are not even together. Mercy now forced to run away with all of these Mutalisks. He is going to be able to save those Mutalisks, as Dream Eyes are now taking the right side of the map. So Stalkers and Immortals now once again going to do another move around the map. You can see the creep tumors are still somewhere on the map as well. There is a queen down off over here. The Mutalisks, with their very high movement speed, going to be very effective, as we'll see what's going to happen next. No nexus, no possibility for observers. Stalkers are going to get cleaned up here as the Mutalisks are going to find them way too quickly. And the Mutalisks going to chase up after all those Stalkers. Clash Mercy realizing that he just needs to scout instead. And now blinks back down onto the low ground and try and rejoin up with the rest of the group. He is able to do exactly that, but those Mutalisks with 1-0 upgrades, I believe. Yes, 1-0 upgrades. Gonna be able to do a lot. Oh no, Sentries Immortals caught in open field in transit, and that was a huge mistake. The Immortals were a huge part of the DPS, a huge part of the threat, and with those getting taken down, there is nothing really for Dreamizer to worry about. He knows that the Stalkers are not going to be able to really do as much. He didn't finish off the drones, though. That was a huge mistake. The drones can just go back and rebuild that hatchery in a matter of seconds. Mutalisks now making another move, going to finish off all of these buildings. You can see a massive number of spine crawlers being rebuilt here, and it is pretty much already a foregone conclusion. Game is over. Dreamizer not going to be able to engage against this sheer number of spine crawlers, and because of that, drones are just going to be able to be macroed up here. Perhaps a little bit too much heavy saturation. Dreamizer going to lose his hatchery here and lose all of the precious resources. Another spawning pool going to get taken out with the drones, making sure... Oh, why is he going after the extractor as opposed to the drones? The drones are really the weakest part there. Spawning pool will get taken out. There is a lot of larvae here. Stalker's going to finish off an Overseer. All the drones have made their way back over, and Mercy... Dreamizer, with this many spine crawlers, knows that it is going to be GG. So Clash Mercy says GG to Dreamizer, 93 to 42 food in the end. And I think one of the real just last hair on the last hair to break the camel's back was the loss of those Immortals and Sentries. If he had somehow was able to save those Immortals and Sentries, things would have been completely different. Also, he never destroyed his destructible rocks here to figure out what was happening on this high ground. If he had tried to come in on this side, destroyed this hatchery first, and then made his rounds, he would have been much closer to home at any given point to try to clean up Mutalisks if they tried and engaged into the main base. And with that, with the ability to defend home, it would have been much better, because the race would have been delayed for a significant amount of time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed I believe it's game 5 in the series. Stay tuned for game 6.